Welcome back again, my friends, here for another 5-minute sermon. We're going to be in 1Peter chapter 4, verse 12 through 14. In these couple of verses in the 4th chapter of 1Peter, we are going to just examine the varied grace and the varied suffering of God. If we remember last week, we finished with the idea of using the gift that God has given you to serve one another according to God's varied grace. And so whoever has the gift for speaking, use it as though you're speaking oracles of God. Whoever has a gift of service, serving one another by the strength that God provides you. So minister and serve as though you are God's servants for the sake of glorifying God. And as we do that, verse 12 gives us hey, don't be surprised to the consequence of that. It's actually very interesting to see that many times it will be preached, proclaimed, taught that if we glorify God in all that we do, that we're going to get a positive reception from the world, that the world is going to like us, that they're going to think highly of us. Now, that's not to say that they won't respect us for being honorable people, but mostly there is going to be trial placed upon us by various people within the community when we stand to glorify God in everything. Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. Don't be surprised. When you stand for Christ and for the glory of God, don't be surprised that a fiery trial comes upon you as if it's weird, as if you've done something wrong. I've actually found myself in that place multiple times where I have something happen, a fiery difficult comes upon me, and I automatically, because everything's about me, go right back into, what did I do wrong? And only in time and prayer does God open my eyes again to see the reality. It's not all about you, Johnson. It's not all about what you've done or not done, but it is about God. And people disliking these things, disliking the truth, disliking the glory of God being emphatic and emphasized at every point. And so by God's grace, may we actually suffer in this way. May we actually suffer by glorifying God, not just by being selfish. It is easy to suffer as a selfish person. But according to the very grace of God and the gifts that He has given you as you serve Him, and do not be surprised, but rejoice, verse 13 says. Rejoice insofar as you share Christ's sufferings. We're in good company. It's always a comfort to realize that you're standing with someone who has suffered in like manner, or who's experienced something like you have. If you have a renowned name that is out there and they've gone through the same things that you have gone through, oh man, that makes me feel better. How much more right here as we rejoice in our suffering, fiery trials, we realize we share in Christ's sufferings. As we have armed ourselves with the mind of Christ, we've armed ourselves with the thinking of Christ in His suffering, we rejoice insofar as we share in Christ's sufferings, and that we may also rejoice and be glad when His glory is revealed. So we understand that our suffering is leading to glory. We sang a song this last week in church where it talked about our pain is joy. And I remember years ago thinking that's weird. It seems masochistic. But this is not a masochistic reality. We rejoice and are glad because even in our suffering, God is glorified because we desire Him more than anything. We desire Him more than the world. We desire Him more than the things of the world. And if we are insulted, I love this because this is expressing the varied suffering that I was talking about. If we are insulted for the name of Christ, we are blessed. I mean, how many times do you feel blessed when people revile you? How often do you feel blessed when people speak ill of you behind your back? If you are insulted for the name of Christ, you are blessed. Because the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you. My friends, if we are suffering for Christ, in Christ, to the glory of Christ, and the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon us, we know that even when we are insulted for the name of Christ, we can consider it a blessing. My friends, let us not shy away from the suffering that might come or the fiery trials. Let us not be caught unaware or surprised, but rejoice insofar as we share in the sufferings of Christ. God bless you. We'll catch you next time.